Welcome to Transform Relationships podcast, sharing with you authentic and relatable conversations on the ups and downs, the ins and outs on all things relationships. Hi there, I'm your host Diane. I'm a psychotherapist, a counsellor and a hypnotherapist. I work in private practice and I specialise in working with marriage and relationships. Hello everyone and welcome back. Nice to have you with me again here today. It's a bit of a overcast sort of morning here in Brisbane, so I'm just recording from my home, and it's a Monday morning. And yesterday I had a bit of an interesting day yesterday. My son flew up from Canberra to come and look at a car. Now the car is all the way out in Kingaroy, which from Brisbane it's about 3 hours one way, so 6-hour return trip. So he's all excited and we get out there, little farm type of place, and have a look at the car. The first thing I notice is that the car is really quite dirty. And you think, okay, well, you can get past a dirty car, can't you? You can wash the car, but still it's, not nice to have the car presented that way. And then we walked around the car and it had a flat tyre. Okay, strike two. Apparently the roadworthy had just been done 2 days before that. And to me, I just shake my head and how does a car actually pass roadworthy with a flat tyre? Look, it wasn't completely flat. And then there was something else going on with the oil. But look, this is life. It happens, right? As you don't know. But the best thing I think that came out of that, although it was a bit disappointing for my son, and very relieved at the same time that he didn't purchase this vehicle, which was a bit of a lemon, was the time that we shared together. We actually listened to a couple of podcasts and we chatted, and it was just really nice having that quality time together. So, we can always make the best thing out of a shitty situation. And, we spent all day in the car, but we stopped, we had lunch and we looked at some nice scenery and we had great conversation and listened to some great podcasts. We actually listened to The Imperfects. Quite funny. Anyway, but today's about you're here because you're listening to my podcast on transforming relationships. And last episode we looked at pillar 4 of compromise and change to the 5 pillars. And today is the last pillar. It's pillar 5. It will be about having goals and direction in relationship. So let's get started. Get yourself comfy, whatever you're doing, whether you're walking or whether you're in the car, and just sit back for the next, I don't know how many minutes it's going to take. And I hope you can get some little pearls of wisdom yourself and take it home and apply it to your relationship. As I always say, education is gold. As the more that we can know about ourselves, about our partner, about our relationship, the better the quality of the relationship's going to be. So let's have a look at today's podcast, which is pillar 5, which is goals and direction. So goals are ideas, right? They're ideas and desires that we all have, which can be achieved by planning and action and taking action. Sometimes we can have a whole set of goals and ideas, but we don't action them. So then what happens is they don't come to fruition, do they? So, and also being clear in how, when, what, where. So really getting into the detail of how these goals are going to be actioned. So when this is clear, then the plan can be actioned, and in time the goal can be achieved, hopefully. And we all feel then a sense of satisfaction when this has occurred. Because, we've done this, we've achieved this, we've had an idea, we've had a plan, and we've had to put things in motion to make this plan come to reality. So let's look at, first off, going back to really the basics of a new relationship. So when a couple first begins their relationship, they have so many goals in common, the shared goals that they're doing together. Now, these goals are easy to make when the relationship is new and exciting, right? The couple does nearly everything together. They plan holidays, dinners, weekends away, and eventually they make plans to live together. So this tells us that the couple does have the ability to make and achieve goals together. Now let's look at this a little bit further in time. So time goes by, life begins to get a little bit more serious, and the couple begins to spend a little less time together. So you sort of, that lustful period and that newness of the relationship is starting to wear off a little bit. You being in life, and life catches up with you, different things become more of a priority. We've forgotten that we've put the effort into work or into friends or whatever. So now we need to sort of shift focus a little bit. If the couple doesn't have a clear direction as to where the relationship is going from here, and let's face it, the majority of new couples don't really talk about their relationship in a way that would create a deeper level of understanding of each other's needs. As a relationship begins and progresses, but also, unfortunately, this happens when couples have been together for 10, 20 years as well. There's not much of a plan to the relationship, not many goals. So topics that are uncomfortable to discuss between a couple are usually pushed down because the declaration of feelings could lead to possible confrontation between the couple. So the attitude of don't rock the boat if we don't need to could be applied to these particular topics. Even though they are not communicated at the time, these feelings are still there. They're still present because they may not have been addressed. They definitely weren't addressed if they weren't spoken about right. So what happens with that? We've got some needs, some goals, some desires that we would like to achieve, but we don't say anything. So because we're scared of the confrontation, so we just shove it down. And this issue that's not been resolved, that's not been spoken about, it's not even an issue, it could just be a desire, will end up just sitting between the couple and could possibly keep them further apart. And as a result of that, one of the couple or even both could become unhappy within themselves and then within the relationship because they're not getting their needs met. They're not getting what's required to be met within the relationship. And this could be as simple as just having fun or organising to have some quality time together. Let's go to a restaurant. Let's go away for the weekend. And although they may seem like really small issues, these issues or desires, if not discussed, can have a snowball effect on the relationship and can develop into something that gets in the way of the couple and begins to push them further and further apart. I've stressed this a lot within my podcast and when I talk to my couples that communication is always the best way to go, regardless of how uncomfortable it can be. Practice really does make progress. Once you guys get into the swing, get into the flow of, understanding each other and how to talk to each other, how to navigate the relationship, when you learn about each other and get into this beautiful flow, and this is a unique flow for the couple, that no two couples are the same, but you've got to learn to dance well together. It's got to flow, it's got to be movement. And when you can do this well, you watch a couple dance, it's just beautiful. There's nothing rigid about it. So getting into the flow by learning how to communicate, learning just to express what you would like, may not get it, but it's just like, what goals do you want to have for yourself? What goals do you want to have as a partnership? Let's look at having a look at the importance of goals in relationship now. So why are they important? So having goals to strive for are very beneficial for the couple for many reasons, and I'll just share a few with you here. Number one, they support the couple in feeling secure and happy with their relationship. Because they're on the same team, they're not doing it alone. Number two, there is a plan in place, and men especially feel more comfortable knowing that there is a plan to follow. Look, women do too, but men just love to know, okay, we're going to do this and then this is going to happen. And it makes them relaxed. Number three, the couple can feel satisfied knowing that there is something to look forward to, something they are working towards together. And there will be a reward for all the sacrifices they are making while working towards their goal. There is a purpose to their life together. I hear many couples say, what's the point? We're just working. I'm not enjoying myself. This way, if you have some goals that you're striving for as a couple, then you don't mind the hard work. You don't mind the sacrifices because you know that it's not all for nothing. Number four, your needs will be met. Needs are goals too. It's like you need a holiday because it's going to give you relaxation, or you would like to, have a caravan or a car or a kitchen or whatever it is, or time together. It doesn't have to cost money. But goals are very important because you're getting your needs met, and these needs satisfy other things in your life. Anyway, I won't go too much into that because it will just become a little bit too confusing. That's really for another podcast. Number five, the couple have shared purpose, and this builds an even stronger connection between the couple. They become a real team. So a couple who are striving for the same thing has direction in their life, which can also contribute to the feeling of belonging and worthiness. Feeling like you belong in your relationship and being worthy in the relationship, and you're wanted and you're important. They're really powerful things to feel within a relationship, and they're really these are the things that weave the couple together, but in a good way, not in a codependent way. Weaving as in them, giving them strength as a couple. And the opposite of feeling the belonging and worthiness could be loneliness and isolation. And that's a really, really real place that a lot of people feel in their relationship. They could be surrounded by loved ones and still feel lonely and isolated. If you are feeling lonely and on your own in your relationship at this time, maybe take some time and think about what, or if any, goals you and your partner are working towards at the moment. Maybe you have never discussed this as an option in your relationship. And if this is the case, then this podcast could be life-changing for your relationship. As human beings, every behavior is to get needs met, and goals are part of those needs. The biggest cause of couples' unhappiness is because they are not getting their needs met. And, I think I touch on needs in nearly every podcast because I can't stress this enough. And, it may be worth, if you go and Google personal needs and have a look at how many there are, and sort of get familiar with what they are, and maybe look at those and look at what is it that I actually do need. It's just great to be familiar with needs, with values, with feelings, just so you got more of a better understanding, and there's more of a few that you can refer to. Even print those sheets off and become really familiar. What are your values? What are your needs? Needs change all the time, but just have a look at how many there are, and they're all there for a reason. So I'll get back to what I was talking about now. So I just hope that you're starting to understand just how important it is now to have goals in a relationship. Goals really do help the couple to stay on the right path and walk in the same direction together and not further away. Now, let's take a look at the type of goals there are for a couple. There are so many parts to a relationship, which also include our personal needs as individuals. So I'm going to break them up for you, and we can have a look at them in a little bit more detail. Relationship goals. So this is the first one. These are about the couple. They can be a little bit more personal. Each couple will have goals that are unique to them, that may fit somebody else as a couple, but don't necessarily fit you as a couple. And that is completely fine, because you're unique individuals that come together to create a unique relationship. So no two are alike. There is no right or wrong with these goals, as long as you both agree to the goals, or at least have made some compromises that are mutually satisfying. In my last podcast, we talked about compromise and change. And this is part of the process of getting goals met and reaching goals that you agree on together. So here's a few examples of relationship goals. Now, it may be to be vulnerable with each other and not shut everything down, to be open, to talk about our issues, to talk about how we're feeling. So to be vulnerable can be a goal. Number 2, to prove how we communicate with each other. Number 3, to make the relationship a priority. A lot of people don't make the relationship a priority. This is like having a blueprint for the relationship. How are we going to run this relationship? How are we going to do this relationship? What is our manual? It's like running a business, right? It won't just run itself. There needs to be some kind of procedure, some kind of manual, some kind of understanding of how this is going to work. So, number 4, to align core values and beliefs. If you don't know what your values are and you run your life by your values, how are you going to understand what your partner's values are, and how are you going to come up with some things that are mutually satisfying together? So really just understand what your values are, what your partner's values are and beliefs, and try and align them as much as you can, or at least have a good understanding. That could be a goal. Maybe you're not interested in that. Number 5, know what your partner's love language is, but also know what your love language is. That should be a goal in all relationships. This is very basic. There are 5 different love languages, and if you're not sure of how you want to be loved, how you're behaving to get loved, what's your behavior to try and give love, then you're not going to hit the spot. You're not going to meet your partner's love language, and you're surely not going to meet your own. It's just like you're flapping around and trying, like you've got a blindfold on. So, that could be a goal, to really understand what's our love language. And there is that great book, The 5 Love Languages, which very easy. Just Google The 5 Love Languages, and I reckon every couple should be reading that book and have an understanding of that. Number 6, make regular time to talk about your relationship, what's working well and not what working well. We got to make time for this. We got to make time to share about what's happening well and what's not happening well. It's like a performance appraisal that you do at work. And it's great. It's great to have the feedback. So you sort of apply the same thing to a relationship. Number 7, to be open and honest with our feelings. Number 8 could be, let's have fun times together. The next set of goals can be long and short-term goals. So short-term could be to have a regular date night, say once a fortnight, or it could be Friday night is family night, pizza night. Number 3 could be let's go for a drive once a week. Let's get out of town and let's go for a drive once a week. Longer term goals could be to save for the more expensive items such as a caravan, holiday, house. They can be as big as what your imagination allows them to be. And number 3, we have personal goals. Having personal individual goals is also very important in relationship, because it's important not to lose yourself within the relationship, knowing what you need, such as your hobbies. By achieving your personal goals, you are going to be a happier person, which means you're a happier partner and a happier parent if you have children. And you can bring this back into the relationship by sharing something new with your partner. And what I mean by that is you go out, you do your goals, whether it's table tennis or golf or what craft or whatever it is. You're leaving your partner, you're doing what you love, so you feel happy. You come back to your partner and you share this with them. And this can be a beautiful thing. It gives you something to talk about, sort of other than work and kids. An example of some of these individual goals can be career, exercise, creativity, personal development, being more self-aware, which is probably personal development, learning to even control your emotions. You could be a very emotional person, but you want to learn to control your emotions. It could be also just going to make time for your friends more. See how these are real personal. What's good for one and right for one will not be right for the other. You were an individual before you came into the relationship. So you always need to honour that individual part of you. And when that person's happy, it does flow onto the relationship. And the result of having no direction in a relationship. Can you imagine if a couple had no goals at all? They were just floundering through life like a fish on a jetty, flapping about, allowing life to do them. There's not a lot of action happening, as in moving forward, but there is just a lot of wasted energy, right? A lot of flapping about. Life can then seem unfulfilling because we have no direction. It's like, what are we doing? And this may engage emotions such as frustration, anger, resentment. Why am I in this relationship? Frustration is like I'm not getting anywhere, I'm not achieving anything. And even feeling of hopelessness. It's like, which will have a direct effect on the couple because it's affecting the individual. We become more snappy, we become disinterested in the other person within the relationship. We can become a little bit boring. I think you're getting the picture. So when a couple begins to have a family together, they can start to lose sight of the partnership and focus more on the children, which at the time is essential, but there is a time to come back again as a couple. And that usually begins to happen when the youngest is turned about 2. Before that age, the infant does require the mother's attention. Although now things have changed quite a bit and there's more babies in childcare than ever before, and the couple is then faced with additional feelings, possibly of guilt. As a result, then they can focus more and more of their efforts and attention onto the children than on their relationship because of these other feelings such as guilt and regret, and may not be what they want in their relationship within their family. Anyway, that's a whole other entire podcast. The main message that I'd like to get across here is that the partnership came before parenting, and there needs to be a time to come back together as a couple, and not even just to come back, but not even to really disconnect, to really stay. I know there's a lot on when you start to have children. I've had 4, so I get how huge it is and how draining it is and how much time it's consumed in the mind of the job list that needs to be done. But please don't forget each other. Always be there for each other as a couple. So, and this comes back down to prioritizing the relationship. I'm taking us back to goals now. I sort of diverted there for a little bit. And to do this, the couple needs to be self-aware and have awareness of how the relationship is traveling. Most couples that I see come at a time when they're in their relationship where they are walking not only on eggshells but also on separate paths. And these paths are moving further and further away from each other. Look, and I'm sure that a few of you can relate to that. And to change this, the couple needs to make plans to move closer into alignment with each other once again. Can you see why having goals together is very important? It really helps you to stay connected. If you are wanting to have more goals and to be more walking in the same direction with your partner, then maybe it's time just to sit down and have a chat together. And the best way to approach this would be to communicate this really effectively. Now, I know for some of you this may be the really hard bit, but let's just have a look at how this may look from the perspective of communicating it effectively. So you could say something to your partner like, "Hey, I'd really love to have goals that we are working towards together. What do you think?" Now that was easy, wasn't it? And when you ask, "What do you think?" you are saying, "I value your opinion," and you are showing respect for their thoughts. You care about what they want, and you're doing it together as a team. You could also mention to your partner that you'd like to be more connected with them and would like to work as a team. And a way to do this would be if we could get a couple of goals together. What do you think? Great question to ask. What do you think? Very inclusive, and it gives them the opportunity to say what's going on for them and how they're feeling about it all. It's always good to give some context, such as why you would like to have this with your partner, as then the request makes more sense and fewer assumptions can be made to fill in the unspoken gaps. And that's why I'm saying before is, mention, "I would really like to have more connection with you. I'd really like to be working as a team together." That's giving it a little bit more context. Let's have a look at how not to approach your partner, not to be like a negative Nelly, but just to understand how not to say it. So how not to approach your partner may be, "We don't do anything together," or "You never have time for me." That's really not going to be well received, and you won't get a good result. It's probably said with a bit of attitude and tone as well. Share with your partner the different types of goals that there are. Maybe come up with a list together. Then compromise on what order to place the goals in. Now, these are couple goals, right? Your individual goals, that's something that you can do on your own, but you can share them with your partner as well, of course. The more opportunities there are to have shared communication, the better for the relationship and the better you're going to understand each other. So this conversation is a great opportunity, to start applying your communication skills. which you would have received from my previous podcasts. And remember, practice makes progress. Rome was not built in a day. Whenever you learn something in your life, it took some time. You've got to build those neural pathways in the brain and create a really strong bond for that particular action. So just practice, practice, practice. A little tip here, this is a bit random, but good to know, is that when a woman makes a statement such as, "I'd like a new kitchen," your man is going to think that it has to happen as soon as possible, and he may get a little bit overwhelmed at the thought of this and become a little bit emotional, which could be anger, frustration, etc., and could lead to words being said that cannot be taken back. Maybe saying something like, "One day it'd be really nice to have a new kitchen. What do you think?" Maybe one day. Be really mindful of that, because when we say it, love to have a new kitchen, he feels this pressure to be able to supply that for you as soon as possible. Okay, let's look at being practical. It's time to be practical now. Having a goal is great, and the process of achieving this goal needs to be realistic. And what I mean by that is we need to know how we are going to achieve this goal. Firstly, understanding what exactly is it that we are wanting to achieve, and how are we going to do this. The clearer you are, the more achievable this goal becomes. An example here of an unclear goal could be, let's make a goal to go to Europe, but there's no clarity on where or when or how. No plans have been made to know how what we are going to see, what we are going to do, and that has been set in an unrealistic way. So, it's just very flippant. Like, let's have a goal to go to Europe, and no clear direction with that. Do you think that this goal will be achieved? Do you think this goal will excite the couple? I think this type of planning would be the source of frustration, because it can be confusing to have this particular type of goal because it is so unclear. What's there to get excited about, eh? We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're seeing. We don't know how long we're staying. We haven't picked hotels. Okay, let's look at having a clear goal and how this looks. It could be we are going to Europe in September 2025 for 6 weeks. We'll be going to Italy for 5 days. We will be staying at ... We will be going then off to France for 2 weeks, and we will be seeing ... Very clear, the time, the where, what we're going to see. Now, this level of clarity becomes excitement, because then we can visualize these places and they become very real. And once a goal becomes very real in our mind, in our mind's eye, then we can make it reality. What we see, we become. Once again here, you need to use your communication skills to negotiate the how, when, what exactly, etc. But I'm sure you will be fine in doing this. It's time to get excited. I hope that you have enjoyed this podcast of goal setting. And look, maybe it is the type of podcast that you'll pick up more from if you can listen to it again. But I hope you understand how important it is to achieve your goals, as a couple and as individuals, because you're really getting your needs met. And, as I know I go on, needs are everything. We really need to understand what we need and how we're going to achieve them. And having goals is just one part of doing that. So I really hope you have enjoyed this and you've taken away a few little pearls of wisdom that can be used and applied in your relationship. You know, being in a relationship that is happy and satisfying does take effort and commitment. So staying awake in your relationship, being present to what your needs are and share them with your partner, even if you think they're crazy or small or overly huge. Dare to dream, dare to dream your wildest dreams and make them a reality. This is your life. I dare you to make it a masterpiece. Thank you for listening to my podcast on goal setting, and I hope you have enjoyed it, and I really, really look forward to being with you all again very shortly. Thank you and take care of you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Transform Relationships podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to sharing some more time with you again soon. Bye for now.